I've been wearing the RingConn Gen 2 for about a year, and while it started out strong, one thing didn't age as well as expected. So now that the Gen 3 is here, I wanted to find out if RingConn actually fixed it, or if this is just a more expensive version of the same ring. Hey, I'm Olive, and now let's see if you really need that upgrade. Spoiler alert, there's an exclusive discount code waiting for you in the description below. RingConn isn't offering discounts on the Gen 3 anywhere else right now, so this code is the only way to get one for less. It is valid for 2 weeks only, so don't wait for too long if one of these rings ends up tempting you. Inside the box, you'll get the rings themselves, a charging case, a USB-C cable, and a quick start guide. The Gen 2 comes with a portable charging case, but the Gen 3 upgrades this to a universal wireless charging case. That means it works across all ring sizes, which is a really nice improvement. Design-wise, they look very similar at first glance, but there are a few differences. The Gen 2 is 2 millimeters thick, while the Gen 3 is slightly thicker at 2.3 millimeters. That might sound like a downgrade, but RingConn added a bigger battery and a vibration motor, so the tiny increase makes sense. And to be completely honest, after a few days of wearing it, you really don't notice the size increase. Both rings use titanium and feel very light. The Gen 2 weighs around 2 to 3 grams depending on the size, while the Gen 3 is around 2.5 to 3.5 grams. For finishes, both rings come in future silver, royal gold, and matte black, while the Gen 3 adds 2 new colorways, brushed silver and brushed rose gold. Our Gen 2 unit is in royal gold, and after a year of daily use, you can clearly see that some of the finish has worn off, which is quite a shame. However, RingConn does offer ring protectors for extra coverage, so that might be worth considering if you want to keep that finish looking fresh for longer. And yup, both rings are IP68 rated, so you can wear them in the shower or during that one annual swim where you remember you're not as athletic as you thought. If you don't usually wear rings, it might take a little bit of time to get used to it, but compared to sleeping with a smartwatch, this is still way more comfortable. Both rings work with Android and iOS and connect via Bluetooth 5. Feature-wise, they share a lot. You get sleep tracking, steps, calories burned, continuous heart rate, blood oxygen, respiratory rate, skin temperature, stress tracking, women's health features including period forecasts, and insights into breathing patterns during sleep that could be linked to sleep apnea. The app keeps a nice clean structure with quick access sections for sleep, relax status, vital status, and activity with an overall wellness balance score for each day. But the big new feature on the Gen 3 is vascular trend. Basically, it tracks changes in your blood vessels over time, especially while you sleep. So you can see if your circulation patterns are staying stable or if they're changing. Just keep in mind that this is general wellness information only. It is not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical condition. The second major upgrade is vibration alerts. The Gen 3 can give you subtle reminders for things like sitting too long, low battery, or unusual body signals without making you check your phone or smartwatch each time. However, as cool as this sounds, I'll be honest, I haven't actually felt a single vibration, even though all the settings are enabled, so I'm not sure if the vibration just isn't strong enough for me to notice, or if there's an issue with our unit. We did reach out to RingConn about this, and they told us that they're aware of it and are actively working on further optimizations. So this is likely something that'll improve with the future updates, so that's really good to know if the vibration alerts are a feature you're specifically after. Workout tracking is available, but it's better for general activity insights than serious sports tracking, since the results may not always be perfectly precise. You can track certain exercises like walking, running, cycling, rowing, or gentle yoga, but those are currently the only options. The ring also detects activities it thinks you did throughout the day, although in my personal experience, this was not always spot on. Overall, I'd say the rings are better for passive long-term health tracking rather than serious workout analysis. For accuracy, we compared the Gen 2, Gen 3, and Apple Health via iPhone, and the numbers weren't 100% identical, but they were surprisingly close. Of course, it's still hard to say which one was actually closest to reality since we're not comparing them against medical-grade equipment. So the biggest difference is that the Gen 2 already covers the essentials really well, especially sleep and sleep apnea pattern insights. But the Gen 3 adds the more advanced vascular trend feature, vibration alerts, improved sensing, and a slightly longer battery life. So for most people, the Gen 2 is already enough, but if you want the newest health features and the most complete tracking, the Gen 3 is the one we'd probably recommend. And one huge plus about RingConn is that there is actually no subscription. Looking at you, Aura. So you buy the ring and you get access to the full app and health insights without monthly fees. fees. But now let's talk about battery life, because after over a year with the Gen 2, this was the part that surprised me the most. After charging both rings to 100%, the Gen 2 estimated 11 days remaining, while the Gen 3 showed 12 days, even though RingConn claims up to 14 days with vibration turned off. But the difference between a year-old battery and a brand new one became clear pretty quickly. After just a few seconds, the Gen 2 had already dropped to 99%, and after only 15 minutes, it was down to 90%. The Gen 3, on the other hand, stayed at 100%. In the end, the Gen 2 died after just 3 days, while the Gen 3 was still at 74%, which suggested just under 9 days of battery life remaining. And it did actually last 12 days with vibration turned on, which is a huge win. So the battery in these tiny rings can genuinely impress when they are new. One thing worth keeping in mind though, the Gen 2 you're seeing here is my personal unit, which I've worn daily for about a year. When it was new, I had no battery issues at all, and it easily lasted the full week and it charged really quickly. But over that year, its battery has degraded noticeably. How much a battery ages will always vary from person to person, depending on usage. Charging is pretty fast when the battery is new, with a quick top-up taking around 15 minutes, but with an older battery, the experience changes quite a bit. For example, my Gen 2 ring started acting up after a while. It stopped warning me before the battery died, charging started taking several hours, and even then, it would still run out of battery again within just a few days. As for pricing, the RingConn Gen 2 goes for just under $299, while the Gen 3 starts at $349, with the new brushed finishes costing a bit more at $369. If you're interested in ordering one of these rings, we definitely recommend getting the free sizing kit first. And this is especially important with the Gen 3 because its sizing is slightly different from previous RingConn rings. Wear the dummy ring for a couple of days to ensure the best fit, since your finger size can actually change throughout the day. And keep in mind that you can trade in an old device to save up to $70 on your new purchase. That can be another smart ring, even from a different brand, removing one more subscription from your life, or even something like an Apple Watch or Galaxy Watch, which is pretty cool. Of course, you can also opt in for RingConn Care Plus, which gives you guaranteed coverage for up to 2 years for any accidental damage, loss, or theft. Overall, the RingConn Gen 3 does feel like an upgrade, but not because it makes the Gen 2 suddenly feel outdated. The Gen 2 is still a very solid smart ring if you mainly care about sleep tracking and general daily health insights. But the Gen 3 is the better choice if you want the newer features like vascular trend, vibration alerts, a slightly bigger battery, the universal charging case, and those sleek new brushed finishes. So if you already own the Gen 2 and you're happy with it, I don't think you need to rush out and upgrade. But if you are buying your first RingConn and you want the most complete version, the Gen 3 is the one to pick. And don't forget the code in the description. It's the only discount on the Gen 3 you'll find anywhere right now, and it's only good for 2 weeks. Links are down below. Before you order that sizing kit and officially enter your smart ring era, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and hit subscribe, as we're always testing new devices to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.